to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight. You're just in time for KUTV Weekend Live. Let's get the highlights. Stakeholders in Busia County urge communities to shun from practices promoting teenage pregnancy and gender-based violence. KUTV Weekend Live is also live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can send us your feedback on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lucy Kiarie and Anyango Sylvia. We begin. Now, the government of Kenya, through the state spokesperson, Isaac Mwaura, has indicated that the country shall continue to receive heavy rainfall, especially in the Lake Victoria Basin, the Rift Valley, highlands west and east of Rift Valley, including Nairobi area and the southeastern lowlands extending to northern Kenya. Flooding conditions in the country are expected to persist by day, following the government's briefing that indicated the current torrents are likely to continue over the western region in Kakamega, Vihiga, Busia, Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, the Lake Victoria Basin in Kisumu, Kisii, Nyamira, Migori, Siaya and Homa Bay, Rift Valley in Nandi, Bomet, Nakuru, Elgeyo Marakwet, West Pokot, Baringo, Uasin Gishu, Laikipia, Kajiado and Narok. In Central Region, heavy rains are expected in Nyeri, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Kiambu and Nyandarua. Eastern Region in Machakos, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, Meru, Makueni, Kitui and Nairobi. The coastal region is also expected to receive heavy rainfall, accompanied by strong winds and large waves. The continuing rainfall in the central region and the overflow of the Seven Forks Dam will increase the flooding in the Tana Delta as the rainfall in the western Kenya and highlands west of Rift Valley continue to aggravate the flooding in Homa Bay and Kisumu counties. This will worsen the backflow of Lake Victoria, posing danger to the surrounding areas. Homa Bay, Kajiado, Nakuru, Mandera and Nairobi counties are the worst hit by the floods, with residents suffering significant disruptions to their daily lives and economic activities. The government has, however, deployed a multi-agency team which has so far evacuated 163,210 people living along riverside, either forcefully or voluntarily.
Ni kweli bwawa hili ni shida kidogo, na tayari tumeshatoa tahadhari. Wale ambao wanaishi karibu na mabwawa haya, tafadhali nondokeni, usije kushurutishwa kuondoka. Kuna manyumba ambayo yapo, hata nyingine yamejengwa mpaka ubalozi, mtu anakodisha ubalozi fulani, serikali itachukua hatua hata ya kubomoa. On the social housing, the priority is meant for people to register. Don't assume because you have been evacuated, then you will just be automatically given.
Following the loss of 9 lives in the past 24 hours, the country has lost a total of 228 Kenyans across the country, 164 persons injured, 72 people reported missing, and approximately 212,630 people displaced, bringing the total number of people affected across the country to 223,198.
The budget that we have is about 4 billion. It had been revised down to about 3.3 billion, but we'll give you final figures as we go by. The reason being is that needs are assessed on a daily basis, and that budget was for about a week ago. And by that time, the people who are affected were actually below 50,000. Now we are talking about 223,000 people.
Nevertheless, Kenyans are urged to be vigilant to avert the risk of waterborne diseases, since one cholera case was reported on 26 April 2024 in Tana River County, with additional reports of suspected diarrhea cases in Marsabit County. Anyango, Sylvia, KUTV. Now, still on floods, originally expected to make landfall on Kenyan coast this weekend, tropical cyclone Hidaya has weakened and dispersed. However, weather forecasts suggest that rain will continue in 37 counties nationwide, as announced by officials on Sunday. David Gikungu, the director of Meteorological Services, stated that rain is still anticipated in Kenya's coastal districts despite fading of the storm.
Following storms of Hidaya's landfall in the neighboring country, the Kenya Meteorological Department, which is keeping an eye on events off the coast of Tanzania, announced that the storms will be causing heavy rains to persist along the coastline region. As the area prepares for heavier rains from Sunday through to Tuesday, the Meteorological Department has advised coastal dwellers to exercise caution to prevent negative consequences of the cyclone. This is especially important for those who engage in marine activities. The Kenya Meteorological Department has reported that the tropical cyclone Hidaya has weakened despite the country's continued record-breaking rainfall and the possibility of flooding, which has been confirmed by Tanzania's government. Counties expected to be affected are Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Lamu, Taita Taveta, and Garissa. According to government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, the government has assured coastal region residents that their safety is assured, calling on them to stay away from the shores. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
At the same time, on the flooding situation in the country, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has announced that tomorrow on Monday, he will convene the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, where issues related to flooding situation and multi-agency response will be discussed. He appealed to all the governors to attend the forum at his official residence in Karen, Nairobi. Gachagua has also reiterated his call on Kenyans to stop daring nature by crossing swollen rivers and living near spilling dams. Now away from floods, but still on floods rather. Leaders from the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, led by majority leaders from both houses, have come out in defense of President William Ruto with regard to the allegations made by opposition leader Raila Odinga, stating that the head of state is not doing enough to stabilize the economy and that he lacks proper ideas and methodology relevant in handling the flood menace in the country. Odinga, while visiting flood victims at Mukuru slums in Nairobi on Friday, faulted the government's response to the ongoing torrential rains that have led to the loss of lives and displaced thousands. At the same time, he slammed President Ruto's directive of evacuating residents living around flood-prone areas without a proper resettlement plan.
We want to tell Raila Odinga, please be a decent gentleman. It cannot be that while we are busy trying to sort the mess that you and Uhuru Kenyatta created in this country, that you are leading from the front again, creating disturbance in our country. Be a decent human being and respect the fact that we are doing a magnanimous thing by holding your hand to ensure that you become the chairperson of AU. Nataka nimshauri mzee Raila Odinga, maneno machafu hayasaidii. Nimesikia akisema William Ruto haelewi. Sasa ninataka nikuulize wewe mzee, kama William Ruto haelewi, alikushinda uchaguzi namna gani? Kama William Ruto haelewi, amewezaje kulipa madeni ile wewe na Uhuru mliachia Kenya? Kama William Ruto haelewi, amewezaje kuongoza dunia ya Afrika mzima kukutafutia kura ili wewe uwe African Union Commission Chair.
Now moving on, education stakeholders in Busia County have come forward strongly condemning cases of teenage pregnancy and gender-based violence. The leaders have urged the community to shun away from practices that contribute to early pregnancies, especially among young people. Additionally, they have emphasized the importance of giving girls a second chance despite the challenges they face on their education journey.
Education stakeholders in Busia County have urged the community to shun away from cultural practices which encourage teenage pregnancies and diminish the rights of girls who get pregnant while at school. According to Evelyn Amuga, who is the County Director Forum for African Women Educationalists, parents are also blamed for neglecting their responsibilities in the fight against teenage pregnancies and gender-based violence.
Na hii shida ya disco matanga ambazo zinakuwa embrace na familia zetu wakati wa matanga na ambazo hazina faida muhimu kabisa, ila ni inapatia vijana uhuru wa kufanya matendo ambayo yanatuma kuwe na mimba za mapema. Pia kuna ukosefu wa kuna ignorance kwa wazazi wetu ambao hawachukui majukumu yao kama wazazi.
Magdalene Kade, Busia County Health Coordinator, reveals alarming statistics stating that in every 5 teenage girls in the counties, 1 is pregnant, with the county recording an alarming 18% teenage pregnancies rate against 15% national rate.
Na pia ukiangalia sexual gender-based violence as a county, by the end of 2022, tulikuwa kwa 15% as Busia County, against 13% nationally.
Teenage pregnancies and GBV perpetrators have been warned to stop their behavior as strict legal measures will be taken against them.
Wanaume ambao wanapenda kufizia wasichana wa shule kwamba chuma chao kimo toni. Tukiwapata tu wale ambao wanapachika mimba wanafunzi wasichana, tumeweka mikakati na DCC katika eneo letu kuhakikisha kwamba hawa watu wanashikwa, wanapelekwa kwa police station, waandikishe statement na wanapelekwa kotini.
However, challenges in the fight against teenage pregnancies and GBV include lack of adequate pharmaceutical supply in health facilities, lack of contraceptives, and peer pressure. Caroline Kimwele for KUTV.
And that story by Caroline Kimwele takes us to a very fast break on the bulletin tonight. We will be back with international news. Don't go far.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu. Pepo pa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Lola ni programu inayokupa fursa ya kutizama video zozote pindi tu unapokuwa na nafasi. Hadithi za kukupa motisha, drama, maisha ya vyuo vikuu, teknolojia, masuala ya jamii, kuzuru maeneo tofauti, spoti, burudani na zaidi. Pata programu ya Lola sasa kwenye rununu yako kwa yote unayohitaji.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. Every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Welcome back. Remember to keep engaging with us on our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can send us your feedback on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Now moving on to a story on that had earlier on aired. Gachagua will be holding an intergovernmental meeting with the governors in the country, and the meeting is intended to help come up with ways to solve the current flooding issues in the country and find ways to help the victims that have been affected by floods.
Tomorrow I have IBEC, Governor Matangi and all other governors. We want you to come. Tukubaliane. Ile county ambaye imelemewa na mafuriko, we tupeane priority of disbursement of funds for emergency to you. Tumpatie pesa, mkuje mtumie hizo pesa na sisi tutumie tusaidiane. We have a problem of climate change. Hii climate change sasa is not just a topic. Vile mlikuwa mnasoma climate change unafikiria ni kitu haihusu wewe. Climate change is real. It is here.
Now moving on to news across our borders, Malawi is grappling with an unprecedented rise in the water level of its largest body of water, that is Lake Malawi. Authorities say nearly 90% of the beach area has been submerged, damaging property and crops. Lamek Masina reports from Mangochi.
Mlangeni, one of the oldest holiday resorts in southern Malawi, is currently underwater. This is largely because of the rising waters from Lake Malawi, which started in January and now covering almost 90% of the beach. The Mlangeni holiday resort in the town of Mangochi is just one of the lakeside tourist destinations experiencing flooding.
We had to cancel
a lot of bookings. We had to cancel people coming here. It just wouldn't work. And we have a lot of salt on the floor. Yes, because the water is coming from the earth, from the ground.
Authorities say the water level is highest in 12 years and has now triggered the release of 957 cubic meters of water into the Shire River, the sole outlet of Lake Malawi. This is compared to the normal release of 350 cubic meters per second. Tourism industry experts say if nothing's done to control the flooding, the situation might get worse.
The water continues to rise, and we may find that more and more hotels and lodges might be closed, affect the entire tourism infrastructure in this area. That would then lead to unemployment.
The situation has forced the residents of hundreds of lakeside fishing communities to leave their homes in January and move to higher ground.
One, many people have nowhere to sleep. 2, people have no food. 3, all their businesses have been interrupted. They have nothing to do.
Lake Malawi is Africa's third largest lake and is bordered by Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Lucent Tilatila, the director of the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services of Malawi, says several factors have caused the rise in water levels, including intense heavy rains fueled by climate change.
So of the recent years, we've been receiving good rains. I think Tanzania also has been receiving good rains. So all that water gets into Lake Malawi. I think that's what has triggered now the water rise in the lake.
Another factor, Tilatila says, is construction close to the beach. Water authorities are considering various ways to minimize the damage to lakeside properties, including erecting dikes. But Patricia Lunguzo of Mlangeni Holiday Resort says that the water has already swallowed their 2-meter high dike and there is nothing they can do.
It's a natural disaster. We need nature to take its course. We are praying. That's the best we can do. We are praying.
The Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services of Malawi says Lake Malawi waters will start to recede when the rainy season in the southern part of Tanzania comes to an end, probably from the end of May. Lamek Masina, VOA News, Mangochi, Malawi.
Now the latest global press freedom rankings from media watchdog Reporters Without Borders present a discouraging picture, including a lack of political will to defend a free press. Afghanistan, Argentina, and the United States are among countries whose rankings fell. For VOA, Christine Scasiedo Smith has the story.
U.S. President Joe Biden was direct in his message late last month to Russian President Vladimir Putin about the country's detention of 2 American journalists, Ivan Gorshkovich and Altsu Kurmasheva.
Journalism is clearly not a crime, not here, not there, not anywhere in the world.
But as the cases of Gorshkovich and Kurmasheva show, media are at risk. Media watchdog Reporters Without Borders echoes this sentiment in its newly released 2024 Press Freedom Index, which finds that threats from governments are the biggest challenge to journalism. Moscow's tight grip on media since its invasion of Ukraine keeps Russia low on the index. Censorship and threats of legal action have prompted the exile of more than 1,500 of its journalists since February 24, 2022, according to Reporters Without Borders, or RSF.
The free press is a thing of the past in Russia. It is virtually impossible to operate openly as an independent journalist in Russia.
At the Washington National Press Club, President Emily Wilkins says the rising risk should be a concern to everyone.
We have seen journalists being murdered for their work in previous years. We've seen a number of other harassments, threats made to reporters. And so I think on the whole, there is a rising concern about press freedom, both in the U.S. and abroad.
In the U.S., a police raid of a Kansas newsroom, hostile rhetoric and arrest of journalists covering protests led to the country's dropping 10 places in the 2024 index.
There seems to be this growing culture of acceptability or permissibility towards attacking the media, and we see it especially at the local level. We see local politicians railing against their local newsrooms and their local journalists. We see local law enforcement carrying out pretty shocking actions against local reporters.
Argentina, Peru, and El Salvador also saw declines. In those countries, says RSF, political pressure and an environment hostile to journalists are common. Afghanistan fell 26 places to the third worst in the world for press freedom. Taliban directives on media and women make it increasingly hard to work there, say journalists. China, too, remains near the bottom, and its influence is spreading, says RSF. In Hong Kong, pro-democracy publisher Jimmy Lai is on trial under the national security law introduced by Beijing. He faces life in prison if convicted.
We're very concerned that China is setting itself up as an export model for anti-democratic values that clamp down on press freedom and freedom of speech.
With dozens of countries due to hold elections this year, RSF says the decline in political actors coming to the defense of press freedom is a troubling trend. Even Norway and Ireland, which have historically good records, saw a drop in the rankings. Cristina Caicedo-Smith, VOA News.
On that note, we take the second break on the bulletin tonight. Sports news is on the other side of the break.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
From the hospital corridors, we bring you experts to discuss issues affecting your health, from diet to mental health. The familiar and the ignored are both put into perspective. We then dive into the environment and look at the effects of climate change and its solutions. Join me, Mutegi K. Martin, every Friday at 9 p.m. as we learn on how to better our health while taking care of our environment. Only on KUTV.
Where we ask the coolest questions in science. Let's go! Is yogurt really just rotten milk? Why do humans need sharks to survive? How did a 12-year-old boy from Africa invent modern vanilla farming? How do you deliver medicine to a chimpanzee? Can poop be useful? How can you save the planet by reducing air pollution? To help us answer these questions, we are inviting some wonderful guests from the world of science. They will enlighten you, make you hungry for knowledge, oxygenate your brain, and make your ideas flow. This is Engine Season 3. Let's go!
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable. Uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosives.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Welcome back. And in sport tonight, Kenya Premier League round of 28 saw Police FC shower Kakamega Homeboys FC 2-1, securing their second position in the table with 51 points. The first goal was scored by Kevin Amoy from Kakamega Homeboys. Police FC equalized in after the second half through their player Tito Okello. The second goal by Marvin Nabwire at the 88th minute secured the 3 points. Meanwhile, FC Leopards sinked Bandari FC 1-0, moving them to 6th position in the league with 41 points. And English Premier League matches continued tonight, with Chelsea sinking West Ham United 5-0 at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's midfielder Cole Palmer secured Chelsea's first goal in the 15th minute before Conor Gallagher Madueke added goals before the end of the first half. Nicholas Jackson scored a brace at the second half, moving Chelsea to 7th in the league. Brighton thrashed Aston Villa 1-0, hence moving them 12th in the league with 47 points. Jurgen Loop side outshined Tottenham Hotspurs after beating them 4-2 at the Anfield Stadium. Liverpool now sit third with 78 points, 5 points behind league leaders Arsenal. That is it from us. Thank you so much for keeping us company tonight. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Lucy Kiarie and Anyango Sylvia. Have a good night.